Hey guys, how you doing today? It's Barb with Halfway to Sane. Hope you're all doing well today. Today I have a story about a Florida woman who is accused of murdering her husband, and then she blames her daughter, and then she blames her boyfriend. So, let's go. So Michael Shaver disappeared on November 15th, 2015. The probable cause affidavit says that 3 days later, the monorail technician at Disney World messaged his employer and suddenly quit his job. At the same time, his wife Lori told friends and family that Michael had abandoned her and their children to start a new life with a new woman. Well, 2 years later, a friend of Michael alerted police to the situation, saying that no one had heard or seen Michael since the day he went missing. He also said he believed Lori may be impersonating her husband on Facebook and had built a giant concrete fire pit in her backyard shortly after Michael went missing. How about that? On February 16th, 2018, deputies say they arrived at the home of Michael and Lori Shaver to perform a welfare check. Lori welcomed the men in and cooperated with the search efforts until they inquired about taking a look around the recently constructed fire pit with a cadaver dog. Lori instructed the deputies to leave her home and they stopped their search. Those deputies then returned on March 9th and found the body of Michael buried 3 feet below the fire pit. The affidavit says he died as a result of a single bullet to the back of his head. That was fired from a .38 caliber gun. The couple owned multiple firearms, and Lori kept a pink .38 caliber handgun on her nightstand. Lori never once called her husband after November 15th, and she never sought child support payments. She also never filed for divorce and began selling off Michael's guns and tools. That's not suspicious. The affidavit also notes that Lori married again less than a year after her husband's death and had once allegedly told her new husband about Michael. How did she marry somebody again when the first husband isn't declared dead or alive or wherever he is? Like, doesn't that have to be done first? Well, okay. Lori married again less than a year after her husband's death and had once allegedly told her new husband about Michael. She said, "It's not that he's missing, it's that he's no longer walking this earth." She also told her new husband about a body that was buried on the property, suggesting to him that something bad had happened. Lori did keep up the illusion of Michael being alive, sending sporadic messages on social media and allegedly telling stories about encounters between the two of her friends. On September 17th, 2020, deputies arrested Lori Shaver and charged her with second-degree murder, domestic violence, and accessory after the fact. Now, second-degree murder is killing without premeditation, and accessory after the fact is a legal term used to describe a person who, knowing that a crime has been committed, assists the person who committed that crime in order to hinder or prevent their apprehension, trial, or punishment. This assistance can include hiding evidence, providing a false alibi, aiding in the offender's escape, or concealing the crime from law enforcement. Lori, she then entered a plea of not guilty to all 3 charges, and she posted $50,000 bail and returned home to her 2 children she had with Michael. Lori's attorney informed the judge early last year of having received testimony from a minor child who confessed to having committed the respective murder in this matter. The minor child met with her own court-appointed attorney last year and represented her desire to testify in this case. The motion said that the minor child had been apprised of the rights she should be waiving and the possibility of the penalties she would be facing. The defense sought to have the child evaluated by a professional to argue against any claims of witness tampering or fabrication during the trial, but both the initial motion and a motion for reconsideration were rejected by the court. Prosecutors, meanwhile, continue to focus on Lori as the person responsible for the death of her one-time high school sweetheart, Michael. Lori allegedly had a tempestuous relationship with her husband, and court records show that in September of 2024, A fight between the couple resulted in Michael being charged with battery. Those records also show that Michael agreed to a plea deal that allowed him to enter a 12-month pretrial intervention program, which he successfully completed in just 6 months. Both Michael and Lori provided conflicting stories about the incident, with each accusing the other of brandishing a gun that they had to wrestle away during the skirmish. That is the same incident that Lori will be limited in discussing or representing at trial, after the judge sided with prosecutors in the aforementioned motion. Michael went to live in an airplane hangar at his work after this incident and even began dating a coworker. That relationship, however, soured after Lori began reporting the couple's actions to Human Resources Department at Disney World. In May 2015, Michael and the coworker split, and he returned home to Lori and their 2 children, and 6 months later he was killed. Lori is charged with murdering her husband and then burying his body under a concrete fire pit in the backyard of their home. She has entered a plea of not guilty. In the months leading up to the trial, Lori's defense team submitted multiple motions claiming that it was Lori's then 7-year-old daughter, we'll call DS, who shot her father. The daughter, who is now a teenager, admitted to shooting her father while being deposed. Deposed meaning to testify to or give evidence under oath. She claimed that she shot her father to stop him from battering her mother. Her attorney said that DS may have missed when she tried to shoot her father, and that Lori's boyfriend, Jeremy Townsend, at the time, who allegedly killed Michael. Jeremy has denied this allegation, and police have not charged him with any crime in connection with the murder of Michael Shaver. Prosecutors briefly mentioned this allegation in a motion that was filed just before the start of the trial. During deposition, DS, the victim, was battering Lori, and DS retrieved a firearm and shot Michael Shaver to protect her mother. She indicated that Jay, presumably to be Jeremy Townsend, then arrived at the residence and also shot Michael Shaver. DS testified that Jay told her and her mother to leave the residence and implied that Jay disposed of Michael Shaver's body after she and Lori left the residence. Jeremy Townsend has denied those allegations during his sworn deposition. In his opening statement, Lori's attorney shared the version of events that Lori's daughter will allegedly be testifying and saying. She's at the residence with her mom. In walks Michael carrying on. He starts to battle with his wife, and DS hears, "I'll kill you," and she hears a lot of commotion. She hears banging, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." While she walks into the room, she'll testify that poor old Michael Shaver was sitting in a chair with his foot on Lori Shaver's head, and she was gasping. Michael is sitting there threatening to kill her. So this young girl, in desperation and in fear, runs and retrieves a firearm, and she believes she shot Michael. She thinks she did. She thought she had. She believed she had, but almost simultaneously in walks Jay. He sees what's going on. Lori is still on the ground. She hasn't even gotten up to her feet yet. And Jay walks in, takes a gun out, and shoots Michael Shaver. He said, "Lori, get these kids out of here. I'll take care of this. Anybody says a thing about this, I'll kill you too." Lori said, "We were like a deer in headlights and got into the car and took the kids to school." DS said this was so routine, this violence in this household, that she says she was just numb. "We didn't speak, and Mom, who stated she would have you believe is so infatuated with Jay, broke it off right there. We don't want to see you." Now Lori assumes Jay has done something with the body beyond her knowledge and its whereabouts or anything. Prosecutors presented their opening arguments first and said that Lori shot her husband and then buried his body in the backyard after a tumultuous relationship that began when the two first met as teenagers in upstate New York. The prosecution also pointed out that the autopsy of Michael Shaver determined he had been shot once in the head and that the medical examiner found no evidence to suggest a second bullet had entered his body. Additional evidence also allegedly shows that even as Lori did break things off with Jay at that time, she might still be in contact with his wife, according to the prosecution. Prosecutors say that in his deposition, Jay accused Michael of texting his wife while also claiming that he broke things off when Lori allegedly showed him that she had gotten his nickname tattooed on her vagina. Really? The affidavit alleges that when Lori got no response from Jay's wife, she allegedly sent flowers to her office, along with a card that read, "Roses are red, violets are blue. My wife is a whore, your husband is too. Check your Facebook message, we need to talk. Mike." Once conducted by the woman who believed she was communicating with Michael, Lori allegedly responded by sending screenshots from her conversation with the woman's husband while claiming to be Michael. She allegedly told the woman that she obtained the conversations by installing a spyware app on Lori's phone. Prosecutors allege all this was done to get the woman to divorce her husband, thus allowing him to be with Lori. Townsend and his wife are still together at this time. The defense also learned just before trial that at least one witness who claims they can confirm Lori's daughter's version of events will not be allowed to testify to that fact after prosecutors successfully motioned the court to not allow that line of questioning during the trial. The witness in question, Adam Navarez, is a former member of law enforcement who now owns a number of building companies. Among his employees at those companies are Lori Shaver and her current husband, Travis Filmer. A copy of Travis's deposition in which he said Lori's daughter approached him at a gathering and said that she shot her father in the head back in 2015 to protect her mother. Lori's daughter also told Travis that Michael allegedly abused his wife, a claim that Lori also made in a separate conversation with her boss. Travis will also be banned from speaking about those abuse allegations as per the judge's order. Prosecutors were previously successful in blocking Lori from presenting additional evidence of her husband's alleged abuse during the trial. The judge ruled that the defense team could not share details from a previous incident involving Lori and Michael after prosecutors argued the details in the police report from that incident were inadmissible hearsay. The defense had argued in their motion that the details of this incident are a crucial part of their case, and the judge did then allow Lori's lawyers to introduce a petition for a restraining order Lori had filed in the past at trial. If introduced, though, it must also include the petition Lori filed a short time later to terminate that order. So, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Make some statements, ask some questions, and if I can hunt those things, answers to those things up, I will do so. In the meantime, please give me a thumbs up and hit that notification bell so that you'll know the next time I upload. Sorry guys, I have a speech problem sometimes, so I'm not trying to be difficult here. But anyway, I'd appreciate if you understood. Sometimes I do make mistakes during my stories and that I do have to read them because I do have memory issues. But again, in the meantime, if you would please give me a thumbs up, I'd greatly appreciate it.